Welcome to In the Green Room for the Heritage Foundation. I'm Lachlan Marquet. Today we are honored to be joined by former Maryland Governor Bob Ehrlich. Governor, thank you for joining us. Now, you're here at Heritage today to discuss the clemency process. Why is this an issue that's so important to you?
The interesting thing about this issue is it gives governors and presidents great power, but there's no great cry from the populace. You get no particular credit from the left nor right when you do it, but it's the right thing to do.
And occasionally it can come with some bad press. You can take some heat depending on how you approach it.
For governors such as myself, who are lawyers, who have an interest in this issue, states have obviously different processes. But in Maryland, for example, the governor has an awful lot of power, and most states give governors an awful lot of power here to effectuate justice, to revisit cases where justice may not have been accomplished, to provide pardons for people, quite frankly, should have them.
Now, during your time as governor, you vetoed a version of the DREAM Act that was coming through Maryland. So I wanted to ask, with the president seems to be signaling that he's going to really make a push on immigration reform at the federal level, how do you think conservatives should approach that issue?
That's a great question. I vetoed the DREAM Act. I thought it was bad policy. But I also said at the time, and since then, in various interviews around the country, that this is a federal issue. It demands federal attention. It demands federal solution. Now, we see this term, I hate it, comprehensive, because that it's a subjective term. It means different things to different people. But we need a Reagan-esque conclusion to this very bitter and divisive episode in immigration history. We need a bill. We need a federal bill that makes sense. So I think conservatives need to play here as a Republican partisan, as a conservative, as a libertarian-influenced conservative. I saw the election results, particularly on the Hispanic end, and what Democrats have done to generate Hispanic votes with regard to this issue. So it needs to be dealt with. Just forget politics for a second. It's a matter of substance. It's a broken system. It does not generate respect for the rule of law. One of the reasons I vetoed that bill in Maryland, by the way. And so I'm looking forward to this debate.
You know, notwithstanding federal focus on immigration reform, this past election dealt a blow to conservatives.
No doubt.
But we still, there are still a lot of reformers at the state level. Should that be sort of the forefront of conservative reform efforts, really focusing on the state rather than the federal level?
Well, I think the 10th Amendment still lives, despite the Obama administration, and despite this move by progressives in the country to federalize everything, to preempt state jurisdiction. And I think we have to take the issue as it exists. If it's juvenile justice, criminal justice issues, quite properly impacted at the state level, dealt with at the state level. Tort reform, generally a federal issue. So I think we need to respect federalism as we go about our business. But with 30 Republican governors and states really being the laboratory of policy growth, we have an opportunity, obviously, to impact and show people, for example, and I'll use Obamacare as an example. You know, we really didn't need to federalize everything here. We really didn't need to spend all this money we don't have. We really didn't need to take away consumer choice and hurt healthcare markets.
Do you think federalism is a winning issue on the federal level?
Boy, it's the right issue. We have to get better at it because, quite frankly, today it's not. So we have to get better at the way we communicate why certain issues are better dealt with at the state level as opposed to the federal level.
Governor, thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.